You got guys that punch hard and hit hard, and you got guys that come out and win a few rounds. But nothing really was tough.
Okay. A lot of people are saying that Usyk heavyweight run isn't a lot of fighters at heavyweight, of course, because he only fought, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fighters at heavyweight.
So again, I think Oleksandr Usyk is an exceptional fighter, but you need to match him with someone that can actually match his work rate. Okay, and for me, Andrzej Kabiel can match his work rate. He's going to go to the body. He's going to follow a game plan.
Floyd Mayweather says fans are too quick to call new fighters legends without knowing the full story. He questions if Oleksandr Usyk really deserves all the attention he's getting. Mayweather often says he's the greatest, claiming, "No. Fighter before or after me is better, and that includes Oleksandr Usyk." Many call Usyk one of the best ever, but Floyd disagrees. He admits Usyk is talented, but believes his own legacy is far bigger. Mayweather retired unbeaten, made history in many weight classes, and ruled boxing for years. He says Usyk never fought the same level of opponents he did.
At the end of the day, I'll let you know, there's no fighter that will ever be better than me. There's no fighter that wasn't better than me before me or after me or when I'm long gone. I'm the best.
Critics like Showbiz the Adult push back against the growing praise for Oleksandr Usyk. While many call him one of the greatest for ruling the heavyweight division, Showbiz questions if his opponents were truly top-level enough to earn him that title. The main point is about competition quality. If the fighters Usyk beat weren't elite or in their prime, those wins mean less. Aside from Tyson Fury, who is often seen as a true top-tier opponent, most of Usyk's rivals don't have the legendary
saying that Usyk heavyweight run isn't a lot of fighters at heavyweight, of course, because he only fought, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fighters at heavyweight. But they saying that it's full of quality, right? I want you to understand, full of quality. Witherspoon isn't an all-time great heavyweight. His brother, Tim Witherspoon, you can argue. But Chance Witherspoon, no. Derek Chisora is not an all-time great heavyweight. He's not. He's a fantastic competitor, but if you look at who he fought and look at who he lost to, Chisora is not an all-time great heavyweight. He's not. Dubois is not yet an all-time great heavyweight. Look at who he fought, who he struggled with, who he lost to. Dubois is not an all-time great heavyweight. So we're left with, when you say quality, we're left with Tyson the Gypsy King Fury and Anthony A.J. Joshua. Now, if you guys think that A.J. is an all-time great heavyweight, you can. I can understand that. I definitely can. There's an argument to be made. But Anthony Joshua, when you think about him and a lot of ops from other great heavyweights, Anthony Joshua lost to the likes of Ruiz, been knocked out by Ruiz, was knocked out by Dubois. Anthony Joshua, I'm not sure if you would consider him an all-time great heavyweight, but you can make an argument. Tyson Fury definitely can. So beating Tyson Fury twice is really Usyk's claim to fame. It's his thing. And
some analysts think Usyk's skills are better judged in pound-for-pound rankings instead of as an all-time heavyweight legend. They see him as a master boxer with great footwork, defense, and ring IQ, making him a modern great. But they don't go as far as calling him a heavyweight legend. They believe his success comes from his unique style and adaptability, not from beating historically great opponents. So while he belongs among today's top active fighters, his spot among boxing's
But let's talk about Usyk. His performance was okay, that's number one. And many of you say, well, Usyk is a top 10 all-time great heavyweight. I don't agree. Because Usyk has only had like 7 heavyweight fights. It's very stacked within those 7 fights. But really, it's hard to put him past people who's had 30-plus, 40-plus fights and just had a career, a great all-time career at heavyweight. But what I can say is that Oleksandr Usyk is one of the greatest fighters, pound for pound, ever. And I put him on my Mount Rushmore today. So I don't have him as an all-time great heavyweight, but I do have him as an all-time great pound-for-pound fighter. And where do I put him there? Pretty damn high.
Critics also point out that many of Usyk's opponents lost not because he was impossible to beat, but because they didn't use their skills well. Some fought him more than once and still couldn't adjust. Analysts believe fighters like Michael, Hunter, or even Joe Joyce, who have shown better ring awareness and strategy, might have been tougher challenges. The key idea is that heavyweights who can match Usyk's movement and timing, which very few train for, would make the fight closer. Instead, many face
a bit harsh on Daniel Dubois after the fight, and I actually think I'm, being fair in being a bit harsh on him. I think Daniel Dubois is an exceptional fighter, but there is something, where it's, it's a confidence thing. And I think Oleksandr Usyk, give him a lot of credit. His jab looked exceptional on Saturday, and really that first, jab that landed on Daniel Dubois, it snapped his head back, and it was a powerful jab. It actually reminded me of Artur Beterbiev's jab when it's, when he really snaps it. And it was obviously a very powerful shot. So I think Daniel Dubois, I think he was confused by Usyk, and I think, he just looked so discouraged to me. Again, take nothing away from Oleksandr Usyk. I thought it was an exceptional performance. And to be honest, he really didn't even get out of second gear. And he didn't even need to. Now, obviously, there's a lot of, talk about what he's going to do next. In my opinion, really, there's only one fight that I would actually want to see. For me, that's Adrian Caballel. I think Adrian Caballel is someone that, number one, knows how to go to the body. I think if Oleksandr Usyk does have a weakness, it is the body. I think Adrian Caballel can follow a disciplined game plan. I think he's had a good string of wins. And I think his stamina is very good as well. I think Oleksandr Usyk is, winning a lot of these fights based on his speed, his stamina, and his footwork. These big heavyweights like Daniel Dubois, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, they cannot live with the pace that Usyk is setting. Daniel Dubois was knackered after 3 rounds in that fight. Okay, so they can't live with the pace. So again, I think Oleksandr Usyk is an exceptional fighter, but you need to match him with someone that can actually match his work rate. Okay, and for me, Adrian Caballel can match his work rate. He's going to go to the body. He's going to follow a game plan.
Showbiz says it's too soon to place Usyk alongside legends like Muhammad Ali and Evander Holyfield. He believes Usyk hasn't built the resume to earn that spot. The greatest fighters in history are defined not just by skill, but by the quality of opponents they beat. According to Showbiz, even Usyk's best 5 wins wouldn't make the top 5 on Ali's or Holyfield's record. This shows the difference between...
I cannot put that over the likes of Evander the Real Deal Holyfield fighting and beating the likes of Riddick Bowe, beating the likes of George Foreman. When he beat George Foreman was a killer. Beating George Foreman, beating the likes of Iron Mike Tyson. He was a huge underdog there. Beating the likes of Larry Holmes, beating Michael Moorer, Evander beating Michael Dokes, if you guys know who that is and how good of a fighter he was. Evander the Real Deal Holyfield has a different brain. I cannot put Usyk with his 5 heavyweight opponents over heavyweights, great heavyweights, who made careers at heavyweight. We all know what Muhammad Ali did. Muhammad Ali beat the who's who of heavyweight greats. He fought them all, and he beat them, okay? But then you have guys like Larry Holmes who have beaten the Ernie Shavers, who have beaten the Ken Nortons. You have the likes of Jack Johnson, which when you look at his box rec, you see his record and you don't know what he had to overcome to be so great.
When Daniel Dubois fought Usyk, many thought it would be a tough battle. But after the fight, analysis exposed several flaws in Dubois' preparation and performance. Experts noted his poor footwork, lack of head movement, and failure to keep steady pressure. This raised the question, was Usyk truly dominant, or was Dubois simply below par? While Usyk won clearly, some believe the fight highlighted more of Dubois' weaknesses.
I was very pro-Dubois, and we were willing him on being a London boy and stuff like that. I thought he won the first round. I thought Usyk won the second round, but I thought there was arguments for certainly giving Dubois the 3rd round. But you could see, even if he was in the fight, things were starting to change after the 2nd round. Usyk just had that extra little bit of class about him.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have him for any rounds. I just thought Usyk was so dominant, and that jab. And I'm not no boxing expert. I'm a casual. I'm a heavyweight casual. I just love to see big heavyweights box each other and knockouts. But I just feel like Usyk just was not even out of second gear. Like
didn't need to be.
He didn't need to be. He just had him on that jab, and he just kept plowing away. And whenever Dubois tried to land like a big shot, like one of those big punches that you talk about.
Renowned trainer Teddy Atlas sharply criticized Dubois's approach against Usyk. He pointed out that even after experiencing Usyk's power and movement, Dubois still failed to adjust. Atlas's main complaint was the lack of body shots and an overall fight plan. He said Dubois stepped into the ring without real tactics, treating the bout like any other instead of a strategic challenge. This let Usyk control the pace and angles, making the knockout feel inevitable. Atlas's view.
That's why I still thought with the game plan, how do you not see that and adjust 3 rounds later and do it again? But the more disturbing thing to me, Bud, was the lack of body work from Dubois. How do you not go to the body after what happened in the first fight? How do you not test that? He didn't throw one body shot maybe until the 3rd round, and maybe he threw a couple throughout the whole entire fight, or as long as it lasted into the 5th round. That was surprising to me, and I thought they dropped the ball big time with that as well.
You know, to that point, when he did throw the one body shot, I'm not going to get deep into this because there was only one, but it almost looked like it bothered Usyk.
Right?
You know what I mean?
And it looked like very similar to the first fight, close to that belt line, right?
Yeah. But and it was low. It was a little low. It was. There's no doubt about it. No doubt. But still, to your point, how do you leave that alone? And then I'm gonna early in the show when I broke down the Holloway and Poirier fight, I'm gonna go back to that real quick now. Holloway won because he had he won because he's great and because he's who he is and because of his makeup and his intestinal fortitude, his skills. I understand all that. But he won the way he won this fight because he had a great fight plan. To your point, to our point, Dubois had no fight plan. And to my point, I'm going to answer your question. You ask a brilliant question. See, the show was so much better with you. I'm sorry. I'm not knocking nobody. I'm not. I'm grateful for everyone, and everything the history of this show has been. But you open up conversation for me by bringing me down places that conversation needs to be opened up by asking certain things that are relevant in this sport. And what you brought up is how. And I'm going to answer that question. How do you not have a better fight plan? How do you not adjust when you made those mistakes in the 2nd and 3rd round that Dubois made, reaching in? You see the guy stepping out. You see he's setting traps. How do you not adjust to that? I'm going to answer it, bud. Part of the thing that is Dubois is that what I was explaining before about being awkward, about being, a guy that kind of like, he simply gets directed. He's the kind of guy like you direct him, you give him more confidence, and he's going to go. And he did that. He did it in the Herjavec fight. He walked through right hands. He did it in the Joshua fight. He took charge and he caught him. He did. But you can't do that in some fights.
Usyk's dominant win over Daniel Dubois impressed many analysts. Becoming a 3-time undisputed champion is a major milestone and shows his technical skill. His style is built on precision rather than pure power. Still, even with these achievements, comparisons to Muhammad Ali don't match. Ali's cultural impact, tough opponents, and legendary fights across eras place him far beyond just titles. Usyk may be great by modern standards.
Oleksandr Usyk just knocked out Daniel Dubois in the 5th round.
Oleksandr Usyk at his scintillating best with a left counter to the chin, and it was good night for Daniel Dubois. And all rise for the brilliant performance of Oleksandr Usyk.
Man, I can't lie to you, bro. That overhand left is different. Is different. He put it right on the... That's taking you out, bro. It's cooked. You're cooked. I'm not gonna lie, man. When it comes to heavyweight fighters, you have to put Oleksandr Usyk. He's top 10, bro. It might be crazy to say he top 5, but you gotta look at what he's doing, bro. When it comes to heavyweights, bro, he's different. He's different. It's just simple and plain. After this performance, where do you guys rank Usyk all time? Just strictly heavyweights. When it comes to heavyweights, where do you guys rank him all time? I'm not gonna lie. He's got to be top 10.
Boxing fans still debate who would win in a fantasy fight between Muhammad Ali and Usyk. Some think Usyk's southpaw style and technical skill would give Ali real trouble. They say his unusual angles, feints, and discipline could outsmart even a prime Ali. While fewer people hold this view, it shows the respect Usyk's ring IQ has earned. Others believe Ali's adaptability and fighting spirit would eventually break Usyk down, especially in the later...
We've got to have an awkward conversation. Prime Muhammad Ali versus Oleksandr Usyk. Who wins this fight? The tale of the tape, both men are pretty much just about the same. Not entirely sure on the birthday thing though, someone can go and fact check that one. And Usyk did actually weigh heavier than 220 pounds when he fought Daniel Dubois. But regardless of that, the two absolute legends of the sport, who would win this? Now, for me, if I'm honest with you, man, this is going to be a real hot take, but I think Usyk wins this, you know. I love Muhammad Ali. He's one of my favourite boxers of all time to watch. I can still go back and watch most of his fights now and enjoy them. He was definitely ahead of his time. But when I watch Oleksandr Usyk and the way that he boxes and, you know, the way that sort of Soviet style, that Ukrainian style now, has come on over the years, and the fact that most of Muhammad Ali's opponents were of a similar size, similar weight to him, whereas Oleksandr Usyk is giving away a lot of weight against a lot of his opponents and still coming out and dominating them. I think Usyk does it. I also, and this is going to be a bit of a hot take, I do think that the current day heavyweight division is probably better than it was when Muhammad Ali was around in terms of the actual caliber of fighters. I think the fact that fighters can only really fight twice a year at max in the heavyweight division now, especially when you're at the very, very top, whereas in Muhammad Ali's age, they could genuinely fight like 5-6 times a year sometimes. I think it speaks a lot to how the sport as a whole has really come on. But yeah, let me know your opinions in the comments. I know I'm going to get an absolute lashing for this one, but yeah, I think Oleksandr Usyk beats Muhammad Ali. I can't believe I've just said that, but hey ho, is what it is. I think Usyk's too technical, it's too good. I think he would actually knock Muhammad Ali out, especially given that Muhammad Ali had a tendency to pull backwards with his chin in the air, and I think Usyk probably finds that. Not to mention that the dimensions are pretty much the same, so Usyk isn't punching up or anything like that. Anyway, let me know in the comments. As always, like, favourite, similar, share. I'll appreciate it. For more boxing content, hit that follow button. Peace out.
Fans of the Usyk versus Ali debate often point to their physical similarities. Both are close in height and weight, and both fight in the heavyweight division using speed and footwork instead of raw power. But the comparisons go deeper. Each has redefined what it means to be a technical heavyweight. Ali's jab and side-to-side movement changed boxing in the 1960s, just as Usyk's footwork and spacing are shaping the heavyweight division today. Their ability to win without relying on knockout power connects them in a rare way. Lennox Lewis, a legend himself, also shared his view on Usyk, saying he could have beaten the Ukrainian if they fought in the same era. Lewis believes today's heavyweights struggle with Usyk because they can't figure out his rhythm or disrupt his flow. He says the key is cutting off the ring, using size effectively, and attacking the body early, strategies he was famous for. His comments aren't just about confidence, but about a tactical gap in modern...
How do you think Oleksandr Usyk would have done in your era, the era of Lennox Lewis, Riddick Bowe, Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson? How do you think he would have done against you and your contemporaries?
I would have to compare him to Evander Holyfield, and I think he would have done very well. Very well. I don't think he would have lasted against me because, you know, I throw a mean uppercut in there, and I noticed he gets caught with uppercuts. So he wouldn't have been able to stand up to my uppercuts.